Hello everybody, Dungeons & Dragons, Honor Among Thieves. I saw it, you probably saw it. If you haven't seen it, don't watch this video, but here are 11 Easter eggs that I found while watching the movie and I wanted to share with you. This video is sponsored by StartPlaying.games, the largest online platform for players to find tabletop role-playing games and professional GMs for any game system or any virtual tabletop. Are you looking to play Dungeons & Dragons? Are you looking to play Pathfinder, Dungeon Crawl Classics, or Vampire the Masquerade? Then check out StartPlaying.games today to find professional dungeon masters and game masters that are running games all over the world and find a game that works for your schedule. Thanks again, StartPlaying.games. The first one, the obvious one, and we'll get it right out of the way here, was the D&D cameo by the kids from the Dungeons & Dragons cartoon. From what I know, they're not in the Forgotten Realms, but, you know, wibbly wobbly timey wimey, they had really excellent costumes, and it was a fun nod. One of those things that I wish they didn't give away in trailers and early things like that, because it would have been fun to see that in the theater and be like, that's cool. It honestly kind of reminded me, I guess not on this level, but something like Thor Ragnarok. If we didn't know Hulk was in that movie, it would have been the coolest reveal. But they gave it away in the trailer. Number 2, the Carpet of Custard. So the original Dungeons & Dragons movie, there was a magical carpet that the guy walked on, the 2000 movie, and he kind of sunk in. And they do a very similar thing with a very similar looking carpet. And I think it was just a nod to, like, the old movie existed. This will be fun. This next one is Volos Portrait. So if you don't know Volo, he has penned within the worlds of the Forgotten Realms. He's a person in the Forgotten Realms. He actually made his way into the Forgotten Realms Magic the Gathering card set, and he has written a lot of guides. So it's Volo's Guide to Magical Things, Volo's Guide to the North, Volo's Guide to Waterdeep, and you can get these guides written by Volo as he's ran around. That was definitely his picture on the portrait that they stole. This next one's really quick. There was just a shot of a cool volcano. The directors of the movie actually talked about how fun it was to film an actual live volcano, so apparently that's not CG. That volcano is near Neverwinter, and it's Mount Hotnow, which there is a large fire elemental magma primordial being underneath the earth that is actually causing the heat of that volcano. So it was kind of fun to see. I always thought the volcano would be bigger though, like in the other pictures that I've seen. It's in the Neverwinter video game, the MMO. I always picture it to be bigger, but this just felt like a little small volcano outcropping, but it was still really cool to see. The next one is the Darksteel axe forged by Gilrin Foehammer. So this dwarf NPC is actually found in the adventure Storm King's Thunder if you go to Tribor, which is where the characters in the Honor Among Thieves movie go at some point. And that character there, he's well known for creating dark steel weapons, and he creates dark steel axes. So that axe that she ends up getting is a Foehammer axe, well made, probably has some cool magical properties. Maybe it'll show up in a sequel later on and do other cool things. We'll have to wait and see. So this is a fun one, the Tears of Saloon. Saloon, you know, I know for a fact that it's Saloon, but ever since the movie came out, a lot of people have been saying Saloon because it just feels like you should. But the Tears of Saloon are these meteorite rock things that trail the moon, and they have a big history with the world of the Forgotten Realms, and in some current adventures you can actually teleport up to them and kind of see the earth from, or the earth, you can see Toril from down below, and it's interesting. So it was fun to see them just as they look at the night sky. You can see the tears following the moon. There's a really brief shot of a dragon cultist from the Cult of the Dragon. And it's in when they do the flashback and they're fighting, there's a lot of sword stuff. You see his mask and his cool things that's straight up out of Tyranny of Dragons. That NPC looks exactly like the drawings in the book. And so that was a fun little nod to see. This one, when I watched the movie, I had to write it down. I was like, is that a real book? But when they ask one of the speak with dead corpses, they ask him like, well, what's your favorite book? And he says, and I have it written down here, the Fanged Tome of Lycanthus. And I wanted to know, like, is that a real book? And apparently it's a in-world book that was in the novel Blackstaff back in the day and is currently in Waterdeep under guard by the current Blackstaff, but it's just a weird magical book penned by somebody named Lycanthus. This one was fun. It's pretty obvious, but I thought it was cool, is the spell Everard's Black Tentacles, which they wrap up Chris Pine's character in. So Sophina does, and he's being held by them. And it was just fun to see kind of maybe what they look like. And they also do damage. Maybe they were doing damage to him. Maybe they were just holding him. But that scene, you could have also used web. That would have been cool to cast web and see what that kind of looks like. This one's kind of like a movie one that I thought was interesting. So when we meet Zenk, who's the paladin from the very, very beginning, it's one of those things where we're supposed to know, so there's a trope in screenwriting called Save the Cat. So Save the Cat is actually a book about screenwriting. And so right from the get-go, when Zenk is working on this fish, he pulls out a tabaxi cat person. This, again, I think was an inside joke for screenwriters. It was a little creepy, though. The animatronic cat and the big suit did not look as good as the Yuan-Ti and the Aarakocra and stuff. And I have one extra one that I wanted to talk about, and that is kind of about Zenk himself. Apparently, Wizards of the Coast wanted that character, that helper paladin character, to come in and help, was going to be Drist from the R.A. Salvatore novels. But eventually that was like, they talked about it back and forth and they just felt like it wasn't right. And the screenwriters didn't really agree with this. And Wizards was kind of pushing it, but Hasbro was like, no, we want a good movie. Like, we shouldn't just like reference, like make it subtle. So they created this character Zenk. And I like the character. I think it's good. I think this is a little too early to bring in Drist. And even if you're going to bring him in, maybe not as like a cameo. Maybe he should have his own movie or series. I've always wanted an animated series with Drist, and I really think they should do that. I think they should make an animated series about some of his adventures, and it would go real well. I'm just saying, Hasbro, listen to the fans, listen to me. And those were the top ones that I found in the movie. What did you think of Honor Among Thieves? I really enjoyed it. I didn't think it was a perfect movie by any means, but it was fun. It was enjoyable. And when I think about the fun laughs that I have at the table with my friends, it felt like it reflected that, because I've never had a Lord of the Rings experience in my fantasy role-playing. I've always had kind of the Monty Python experience, or frankly, this movie, Honor Among Thieves, where the stakes are real and high, but you're still just kind of sassy and playing a game.
Protect it with your very life.
I will. Hold this.
Let me know down below if you thought there was a cool Easter egg that I didn't catch here. I'd love to read about it and things like that. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and want to learn more about Dungeons & Dragons lore. I'm sure there's some videos here that you could click on, do things like that. I'm Jordan, the PH is silent, and I will see you all in the next video.